Got a beautiful day here, June 5th. About 5 kilometers north of Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan, where I live for now. And I don't think you could really have much better weather for paragliding. Just parked the car about 1.2 kilometers down the road. Laid out the line and got the eWinch set up, and now I'm walking back to the glider. So hopefully get airborne in the next 20 minutes or so. But the winds are nice and light at altitude, probably 20 kilometers an hour from the west southwest. And the goal today would be really just to get airborne and enjoy the air, but get a little cross country, maybe here to the other side of Regina, which is about 50 kilometers, maybe 60. I need to avoid the Regina control zone, and I'm north of the Moose Jaw military airspace, but keep an eye peeled for military traffic. Seen how that could go recently online, so try to avoid that. But absolutely gorgeous day, and hopefully it goes all right. All right, just finishing up my hike to launch, I guess you'd call it. You can see here, this is the line that's laid out, 1.2 kilometers of this stuff, just Dyneema line. And should have taken a picture of it, but this is the remote. And then I've got the winch set up at the car parked 1.2 kilometers upwind to here. And it's got a receiver on it, of course, so I'll try to take a video of that after I land. And here's the glider that I left with the drogue chute attached. And then this is a kite that will basically, as I'm winding in the line after I release, this kite will keep the whole line airborne and out of the farmer's crops. And it's another little drogue, and then here's the line where I attach to the end. So that's it. That's the runway. We'll see how we go. Next, getting the glider set up, getting the down jacket on, which is always the sucky part to get super hot before getting airborne into the nice cool air, but see how it goes. All right, well, I wasn't planning to give an update so soon, but I guess you can launch into good cycles and bad cycles, and I chose a bad one. I'm back on the ground. Gives an opportunity to see the winch at the car end. So that's the electric winch. Inside I've got the battery and control box, which I'll show later because it's locked up, and the antenna there, and then in my hand is the controller. So just going to finish the last stages of rewinding the cable. Here you get a bit of a glimpse of the challenges of self-towing. It's awesome because you can do it completely unsupported, but it is challenging. You got to be able to control the glider as well as managing the tension on the winch, which is done with the remote control that you see in my right hand. It's just got a trigger that you pull, and the tension that you get is in proportion to the amount of trigger that you pull back. It's initially quite challenging as you're getting off the ground, but once you're airborne, you can pretty much just hold full throttle, and that tension is good, kind of self-regulated by the winch and the control box somehow throughout the process. So once you're airborne and established, you just hold full trigger the whole time. It gives nice, smooth, steady pull. Some lift up here. pretty typical with the amount of line I had out. In my experience, which is pretty limited, I find that for every meter of line I have laid out, that equates to about a foot of altitude. So if I lay out 1,000 meters, then I typically will get about 1,000 feet of above ground altitude at release, which is enough, especially because you can really ping off at any point during the tow. If you feel you're in strong lift, you can release whenever you like and be into the climb. But I do find I get a little bit distracted managing the rewind of the line while I'm trying to get that first climb out. It's fairly simple with the drogue chute. You just hammer the throttle full, but you do have to keep the remote somewhat pointed at the receiver and pay attention to where the drogue chute is in relation to the car so that it doesn't end up winding into itself, which I have done with the previous winch that I had, but this one's refurbished and 100% good to go now, so I'm really happy with where we're at now. It's a nice climb up to cloud base. It was about 8,500 feet MSL, about 6,000 and change above ground level. Just a gorgeous day out there. The rest of the video really has nothing to do with self-towing or anything like that, and frankly not all that informative for anybody who knows what they're doing with a paraglider. But some nice footage. I enjoyed it, and stick around if you like. If not, if you've got any questions about the self-towing system, I've made a lot of the mistakes, so I feel that I'm well qualified to answer in a sense. But Greg Cusick at Miami Paragliding has provided amazing support. Can't say enough about Greg and the level of support that he's provided get me up and running. So if you're looking for a self-tow eWinch, it's really the only game in town, and Greg runs a great shop, and like I said, top-notch support. So feel free to reach out if you've got any questions. I'm all ears, and otherwise enjoy. All right, I just landed after almost 4 hours in the air. 127 kilometers flown, which is not great, but for me, that's my personal best actually. So pretty excited about that. And it's just absolutely gorgeous out here right now. I'm a few kilometers west of Fort Capel, and my son Evan is on his way to pick me up. I think it's going to take him about an hour and a half to get here, but it'll give me lots of time to get packed up and maybe hike into town and maybe even grab a bite to eat. But pretty excited. Everything worked. And then we'll get back to the winch and see how things made out at that end and get packed up. But good day.